Dr. Tricia Pingel is here on set with us. We wanted to have you in studio to talk to us about chronic pain. You deal with a lot of patients who come to you. What type of pain do they come to you with the most, complaining about the most?
Well, I think in general, when you look at pain, it kind of helps to define that. You know, it's real easy to look at acute pain and say, well, I injured my elbow, it swelled up, went down. When we're talking about chronic pain, we're looking at a couple things. Number one, we're always looking at inflammation. There's always inflammation somewhere. So as far as where is it, completely different in each person. Could be systemic when you look at fibromyalgia, for example. People have chronic low back pain, that's very common. Even you could loop in headaches or chronic migraines, you know, as pain. And there's also a physiological and psychological aspect to pain. You know, I delivered my babies at home in my kitchen.
Brave.
Without pain management. My pain
Did you do that on purpose or just by chance? Oh, it was on purpose.
Totally.
I just had to feel I had to ask.
Yeah, no, I actually planned it, if you can believe it, and I did it twice, right? But you know, when people say, well, I have a high pain threshold or I have a low pain threshold, there is actually some truth to that in the way that our mind interprets pain. And therefore, in a lot of chronic pain therapy, you have to bring in that emotional component because parts of the brain are actually involved in our, I guess, interpretation of pain in addition to the inflammation. So it's quite a process to find where it's all coming from. But I think that's the starting point. You start somewhere and you investigate and you start working on that process to relieve it.
You turn on the TV these days and there are ads for fibromyalgia all over, and it's immediately sending them to the doctor's office to get an opiate, right? To get a painkiller or a pain reliever in that way. What I'm really excited to have you on today is talking about, as we say, gut health is mental health, but gut health really, the things we put in really impacts the way our bodies behave and how our bodies feel, and introducing more of a naturopathic way to help folks who do suffer from chronic pain.
Yeah, well, anyone who's a parent has taken a baby to a doctor, and the first thing they ask is, what are the inputs and the outputs? What are they putting into the body and what's being eliminated? And then for some reason, when we become adults, we stop asking that question. You know, but really, it's not really out of the box naturopathic therapy. It's just going back to really looking at what does the body need. It needs proper nutrition. It needs stress reduction. Right? We live in a ridiculously stressful society, and that just causes more inflammation and exasperates anything else that might be going on. So I think it's actually quite simplistic, but yet very difficult for people to commit to, especially if they are just being handed scripts. By the way, the top script for fibromyalgia typically is an antidepressant.
Wow.
Bringing the mind and the connection of the neurotransmitters of the mind into the pain. So it's actually changing the way that they look at life and look at pain.
Let's talk about some of the recommendations that you give to your patients. So I read your blog and you list these as the top recommendations to help fight chronic pain. Ginger, garlic, cherries, turmeric, hot peppers, leafy greens, blueberries, extra virgin olive oil. So talk to me about...
Serve me up a dish. That all sounds really great, actually.
You know, talk to me about how much food can really help us combat chronic pain.
100%. And as you noticed, all of those are plant-based foods.
Yeah.
There were no hamburgers or pizzas or chicken wings or whatever on that list. But the bottom line is plants have the medicine. They're antioxidants, all of those, potent antioxidants, potent anti-inflammatories. Those not only reduce pain and inflammation, but they help the immune system, they help your brain, they help you have a great mood. Those are also mood boosting foods. In fact, blueberries, I think it's like in 30 minutes after consumption, your serotonin levels go up.
Wow, I got you.
Sounds like go to the store and get us blueberries for our kitchen.
But they're all working together to actually benefit the body. And I always talk to my patients about when you put something in your mouth, think about what it does for you. What are you getting out of it? You know, and that's where a lot of those foods come in. And I could go on with another 100 foods, and they all have some sort of impact.
So what do we have here?
Well, I brought a little sample from my supplement line. I think one of the ones primarily for inflammation would be the turmeric, which turmeric is a fantastic plant. And you can actually buy the root at Sprouts or Whole Foods and make your own golden milk. If you haven't tried golden milk, that's one to look up for sure. But you can also take it as a supplement. And what's nice about it is it actually can work almost like an ibuprofen when you're in acute pain. Zinc, just minerals in general. I mean, we are so deficient. And let me tell you why we're deficient. We're deficient because the stress on our body slows our digestion. If you're in the woods and you run from a bear, you don't digest your food, right? So if you're constantly running, the rest and digest phase is slowed. And when it's slowed, we have less nutrition, less absorption, more medical problems, and more inflammation and more pain. So I brought a total stress support, which is about calming down that body and focusing on the rest and digest, along with minerals, turmeric, and some vitamin D, which is so important just in general for our overall health.
There were a few other therapies that I saw that you recommend to your patients. Can you talk briefly about one or a few of these? The hot and cold therapy, and then the EFT tapping. I've been hearing a lot about that. And then also you talk a lot about meditation.
Yeah, I mean, the meditation, you have to calm the body to be well. We cannot run in a fight or fight sympathetic state all the time. It produces fear, and that causes more stress on the body. We have to calm our body. So meditation is a practice that I recommend everybody work on, and it is absolutely something you need to work on.
Start with 3 minutes.
Yeah, right.
And then work to 4.
Can you make 3 minutes? I'm at about a minute right now, but you know, I try to do it regularly. The tapping is unbelievable. There is so much research on acupuncture and tapping, and part of it is that it actually calms the anxiety and allows the body to focus on intention.
Just very quickly, can you show the audience what you mean when you say tapping?
Yeah, so you have to pick some sort of intention. You know, I had a bad day today, but I love myself and I'm fulfilled. And then you move on to the next section, and then you move on to the next section. And
My
then
trauma therapist had me do this in session one time.
Yeah.
She's a huge proponent of it.
And you keep saying it 3 times every time you tap, whatever your intention is. And I think there is such a great link between our mind and our body. And so often in conventional medicine, we separate those. We don't put them together, and it's so important.
Hot and cold therapy, you're talking about the ice bath?
Yeah, hot, cold, you know, cutting off blood flow, bringing blood flow. Cutting off blood flow, bringing blood flow. Also moving toxins through the body is another aspect of that.
And they say when you wake up in the morning, do not take a hot shower, take an ice cold shower.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
I was just saying, no, I refuse to do it, but that's what the experts
comfy.
tell me to do, and I refuse. I'm like, I'm not waking up and jumping into an ice cold shower.
No, me
As
neither.
we wrap up, can you just leave the audience with one final kind of word of inspiration? So many people suffer from chronic pain, and that obviously like impacts your mental well-being. What is your final word of inspiration to people?
You know, I think the key is to just wake up and start somewhere. Just every day, wake up with a good intention, say something positive to yourself in the mirror, figure out what your goal is in that moment, and not spending so much time on regret, what I could do, what I will do all the time, but where am I right now? And what can I do right now to make a positive impact in my life and everyone else's life?
The power of now. Thank you so
Power of
much,
now.
Dr.
Thank you
Pingel.
so
And
much.
the 2 apps I like, Daily Calm and Daily Mindfulness. I have both of those on my phone. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.